Imagine owning the fastest sports car in the world. It has an incredible engine, premium tires, and every performance upgrade money can buy. But there's one problem. The gas tank is empty. It doesn't matter how powerful the car is, it isn't going anywhere. The same is true for athletic performance. Welcome to the Mental Weight Room, where we train the brain just like we train the body. I'm your host, mental performance coach Antoinette Datoc. Whether you're spending 10 hours at a tennis, volleyball, or soccer tournament, playing 4 baseball games in a weekend, or competing in an all-day swim meet, there's one piece of performance that often gets overlooked: nutrition. Now, before you think, wait a minute, I thought this was a mental performance podcast, stay with me. I'm not here to tell you exactly what to eat. There are registered sports dietitians who are far more qualified to do that, and I'll link some really good sports nutrition books for youth athletes in the show notes. Today, we're talking about one of the most overlooked aspects of mental performance: how to fuel your brain during long tournament days, because fueling your body is also fueling your mind. You can have incredible talent, outstanding skills, and all the mental tools and strategies in the world. But just like the fastest sports car in the world isn't going anywhere on an empty gas tank, if your brain isn't properly fueled, you won't be able to access your talents, skills, and mental resources when you need them most. Think about it. What you eat, and just as importantly, when you eat it, can have a tremendous impact on your ability to make good decisions, regulate your emotions, stay focused, and perform your best throughout a long day of competition. Let's dive in. When athletes think about nutrition, they usually think about muscles and physical energy. Protein helps repair muscles. Carbohydrates provide energy. Hydration helps prevent fatigue. All of that is true. But here's what many athletes forget. Your brain is competing too. Every tactical adjustment you make, every decision during a point, every time you reset after a mistake, every attempt to lock back into the present moment or stay in the zone, those are all brain functions. Your brain is the command center of your performance. And just like your muscles, it performs better when it's properly fueled. The longer the day, the more demand you're placing on that brain. One of the biggest myths in sports is that you'll always know when you're running out of energy. The truth is, you may not. Your legs might still feel okay, your breathing might still feel fine, but your brain may already be struggling. And that's often where performance begins to unravel. Not because you suddenly lost your talent, but because you've lost access to it. Let's look at 3 mental skills that are especially vulnerable during long tournament or competition days. The first is decision-making. Every point, every possession, routine, rally, or execution of any skill requires dozens of tiny decisions. Should I attack? Should I defend? Where should I place this shot? What adjustments should I make? Should I stick with the game plan or change it? Your brain is making these decisions all day long. Psychologists call this decision fatigue. The more decisions your brain has to make without enough fuel, the harder those decisions become. Instead of making smart decisions, athletes begin making familiar decisions. They default to what's comfortable or automatic, and oftentimes that's not the best choice for peak performance, because instead of adapting to what's happening in front of them or using new skills, they fall back on autopilot. Have you ever watched an athlete continue to make the same mistake over and over and over and wondered, why aren't they adjusting? Sometimes the answer isn't a lack of knowledge, it's mental fatigue. An underfueled brain simply has fewer resources available for good decision-making. The second mental skill is emotional regulation. Have you ever noticed how much harder it becomes to stay composed late in a game or in a tournament? A bad call suddenly feels devastating. One mistake turns into 3. Confidence seems to disappear faster than it did earlier in the day. Parents often assume their athlete has become mentally weak, but more often than not, they're just mentally exhausted. Self-control takes energy. Resetting after mistakes takes energy. Choosing encouraging self-talk instead of negative self-talk takes energy. Managing disappointment takes energy. When you're hungry and dehydrated, your brain has fewer resources available to regulate those emotions. That's why underfueled athletes often become more reactive. Not because they've suddenly lost their mental toughness, but because the part of the brain responsible for self-control is working with fewer resources. Mental toughness isn't pretending your body doesn't matter. It includes taking care of your body so your brain can do its job. The third mental skill is focus or clarity. Every athlete talks about wanting to get in the zone, but very few realize how much energy sustained focus actually requires. Think about a long tennis match, a full day at a gymnastics track or swim meet. A baseball, lacrosse, soccer, or volleyball tournament with multiple games. You're not concentrating for 15 minutes. You're asking your brain to repeatedly narrow its attention, ignore distractions, recover after mistakes, and re-engage hour after hour after hour. And that's hard work. Focus burns energy. As your energy drops, your attention naturally begins to drift. You start replaying the last mistake. You begin worrying about the next round. You're distracted by spectators, officials, or your competitors. You miss tactical opportunities because your mind simply isn't where your body is. Athletes often say, "I just couldn't get in the zone today." Sometimes that's a psychological issue, but sometimes it's a physiological one. You can't expect championship-level concentration from a brain that's been surviving on an energy drink and a concession stand order of nachos since 8 o'clock in the morning. So what does this mean practically? I want you to think about fueling your brain in 4 phases. First, a few hours before competition, enough time to digest, eat a balanced, substantial meal that provides the energy you'll need to start the day. Carbohydrates are especially important because they're your body's preferred source of fuel for exercise, while moderate protein helps keep you satisfied for long periods of time. Choose foods that are familiar and that you know sit well with your stomach. Then, about 30 minutes to an hour before you compete, think of topping off the tank with a light, easy-to-digest snack, something that gives you quick energy without weighing you down. Between events, don't wait until you're starving. If you have several hours before your next competition or game, eat another balanced meal. If you have less than an hour, choose lighter snacks that replenish energy without upsetting your stomach. Finally, don't forget recovery. The way you refuel after your last event affects how well your body and your brain recover for tomorrow. And throughout the entire day, stay hydrated. Even mild dehydration can affect concentration, reaction time, memory, mood, decision-making. Notice something? Those are mental performance skills. As mental performance coaches, we spend a lot of time teaching athletes breathing techniques, visualization, confidence, self-talk, and focus strategies. Those are incredibly valuable tools, but none of them exist in a vacuum. A tired brain struggles to use them. A dehydrated brain struggles to access them. An underfueled brain struggles to sustain them. So the next time you're packing for a tournament, don't think of food as an afterthought. Think of it as part of your mental training plan, as part of your equipment. Remember that sports car we talked about at the beginning? It doesn't matter how powerful the engine is if there's nothing in the gas tank. The same is true for your performance. You may have all the physical talent and mental skills in the world. You might be really well prepared, but if your brain isn't fueled, you won't be able to access all of that when you need it most. Fuel your body, fuel your brain, and give yourself every opportunity to perform at your best. So parents, this week, here's your challenge. Before your athlete's next tournament or long competition, spend just 15 minutes planning and packing their cooler the night before. Don't leave it to chance. Don't assume you'll find something healthy at the concession stand. You probably won't. And don't wait until your athlete says they're starving. Instead, pack the cooler with the same intentionality that they pack their equipment bags. Include a balanced meal for before competition, quick carbohydrate-rich snacks for between events, recovery foods for after the final game, and plenty of water and hydration options. Think of that cooler as part of your athlete's mental performance toolkit, because every bite is helping fuel better decisions, better emotional control, better focus, better resilience. And perhaps the greatest gift you can give your athlete on tournament day isn't another reminder to stay focused. It's giving their brain the fuel it needs to actually do that. Pack the cooler, fuel the brain, then let them compete. Thanks for tuning in today. If you found this episode helpful, click like, drop a comment, share it with a parent or coach who spends weekends living out of a cooler. And don't forget to subscribe or follow the Mental Weight Room on Instagram and Facebook so you never miss a mental workout. And if you'd like to strengthen the mental side of your game, visit my website to schedule a free discovery session. I'd love the opportunity to help you build the mental skills that separate good athletes from great ones. This is Coach Antoinette signing off. And until next time, keep training your brain like you train your body, and keep pushing your limits.